It started with a whisper. At first, I thought it was the pipes. My old house creaked and groaned at night, like any century-old building might. But this sound was different. It came from the vents, from the basement, from beneath the floorboards. The whisper said my name. It was soft, hesitant, as if whoever it belonged to wasn't sure they were allowed to speak. Daniel? I remember freezing in the middle of brushing my teeth, the toothbrush hanging halfway from my mouth, foam dripping onto the sink. Daniel, please, help me. I was alone. I had been alone for 3 years since my wife left. The house was quiet, dead even, but now it breathed. I followed the sound barefoot, heart racing, down the hallway past the dusty photo frames and the locked guest room, all the way to the basement door. The whisper came again. Daniel, I'm so cold. And then silence. I didn't sleep that night. 3 nights passed. Every night, the same whisper. Always my name. Always from below. I stopped answering my phone. I stopped going to work. I spent hours with my ear pressed to the floor, waiting, listening. And then on the 4th night, the voice changed. It sounded younger, desperate. Why won't you help me? I'm your brother. I fell backward. My brother, Ben, died when I was 8, drowned in a frozen lake. His body was never recovered. I never told anyone what really happened that day. The voice beneath my floor, it knew. You let me fall. You watched. My hands were shaking. I grabbed a flashlight and crowbar and yanked open the basement door. The stairs groaned under my weight. The air was cold, wet. I reached the bottom, sweeping the beam across the unfinished walls. Dust, mold, old furniture covered in sheets. But no one was there until I looked at the crawl space. A small, square opening in the far wall, barely 2 feet high. And in the dark, 2 eyes stared back. I didn't scream. I couldn't. The eyes blinked slowly, then vanished. I should have called the police. I should have left the house, driven away, never looked back. Instead, I boarded up the crawl space, nailed it shut, plastered over it like it had never existed. But the whisper didn't stop. It got louder. At night, the lights flickered. My electronics turned on and off by themselves. I found muddy footprints in the hallway, small, barefoot, leading from the basement to my room. I began seeing things in mirrors, faces behind mine, smiling. I just want to come home. The voice changed again. This time it was my mother's. She died in this house. I felt like I was losing my mind. Then one night, I heard knocking, not at the front door, from under the floor. 3 slow, deliberate knocks, followed by a whisper. Let me in. I went to my neighbor, Mr. Alder, the next morning, an old man who'd lived on this street for over 50 years. He didn't seem surprised. That house has roots deeper than the oak trees, he said. Some places remember. Some places grieve. I asked him what he meant. He told me about the original owners, the Kepler family, how their youngest son vanished in 1963, how the father went mad, digging under the house, how he claimed he could still hear the boy calling. He tore up the whole basement, said he was building a door. A door to what? Mr. Alder looked me dead in the eyes, to wherever the voice was coming from. I returned home and tore down the plaster. Beneath it, the crawl space was intact, but something had changed. The opening was wider, big enough for me to crawl through. I didn't want to, but the whispers had turned into screams. Voices layered over voices. Children, women, men. Please, please, please. I slid inside. The tunnel stretched further than it should have, far beyond the foundation of the house. My flashlight flickered. On the walls, drawings, carvings, hundreds of handprints in the dirt. And then a wooden door, just standing there, alone, closed. I touched it. It was warm. On the other side, I heard crying. A child. Daddy? Are you out there? It wasn't Ben. It wasn't anyone I knew. I backed away, and the door shook. Once, twice, then something knocked back. I sealed the crawl space again, burned sage, prayed, screamed into empty rooms. Nothing worked. Every night, the house got colder. I stopped eating, stopped showering. Shadows moved on their own. One night, I looked into the bathroom mirror and saw my brother standing behind me. His skin was pale, his mouth stitched shut, eyes black, but he was crying. You left me. I smashed the mirror. but his reflection stayed and smiled. That night, I dreamt of the door again, but this time it was open. Inside was a staircase, spiraling down into darkness, and from below, a chorus of voices. Daniel? 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 I boarded up the basement the next morning, hammered nails through it like I was sealing away a corpse. But nothing stayed quiet. That night, I woke up gasping, my ears ringing. The house breathed. The walls pulsed with a low hum. And from under the floorboards came a voice I hadn't heard before. It was my own, begging for help, calling out in my exact tone, my pitch, my broken fear. Please, don't leave me down here. I ran out of the house, down the street, barefoot and bleeding, not caring who saw me. But nobody did. The town was empty. No cars, no lights, no sound, just fog. And then I saw them, the children, standing in the middle of the road, staring at me. All of them, silent, mouths still, wired shut, skin pale, like moonlight. Behind them stood the tall figure. It reached out one long hand and pointed at me. Suddenly, the world split. I was back in the house, in the hallway, the same hallway. But everything was wrong. The paint peeled like old skin. Doors hung loose from their frames. Every mirror was shattered. And in the largest crack of one mirror, I saw myself. But it wasn't me. It was him, the thing, with my eyes, my face, smiling. He spoke in my voice. I already live here. The reflection reached through the glass and grabbed my arm, burned it. And then I realized I was never meant to survive. I was always part of this. The house didn't want me out. They wanted me back. They found the house days later. Or rather, what was left of it. A collapsed foundation. No basement. No remains. Just a scorched patch of earth and a voice caught on a neighbor's voicemail. 3 seconds. A whisper. He's still hungry.